Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Recently I did my repertoire survey of Schubert's Die Winterreise, and that kind of got me hooked on Schubert. I've been having like a Schubert extravaganza lately, including transcriptions of Schubert's works and the wider sense of Schubert's influence. And, I came across this disc that I hadn't listened to in a bazillion years on Alpha. It's with the Orchester Wiener Akademie under Martin Haselböck, The Sound of Weimar, Schubert Liszt Transcriptions. Now, Haselböck and these people did all of the Liszt orchestral music, basically. I mean, the tone poems, the Hungarian Rhapsodies, the symphonies, and all these other things. And this was included in that series. All of that got boxed up and was issued by Gramola, which licensed all the material from these various labels. But it seems that the individual titles are still available. This was actually recorded, let me see here, I think it was like 2014 or something like that. Yes, I think that's it. Yeah, 2014. And you can get them separately still on their original labels, at least some of them. I mean, as usual with this business, it's all completely up in the air. But I did take a look at Amazon, and this was still around. And I have to say, it's a wonderful disc. I was listening to it separately, so I wanted to give it some separate attention. What you get, and this is really, really cool, is 3 March transcriptions by Liszt, and then the Wanderer Fantasy, and then by Liszt himself, 2 funeral odes. Liszt was very good at funeral ode stuff, and the world premiere of his version, his fantasy, if you want to call it that, on the Gregorian chant Vexilla Regis Prodeunt, which is also the beginning of Holst's The Hymn of Jesus, in case you were missing something. I mean, it's a beautiful Gregorian chant. It's marching along with the cross and, whatnot. It's a march, which is how Liszt treats it. But they are wonderful, wonderful transcriptions of totally unknown works. When was the last time you saw anyone play a Liszt transcription? And Haselböck has put together 3 of the March transcriptions, which make a fabulous sort of 3-movement sonata/symphony type thing. You have his Reiter March, the Knight's March, and then his Funeral March. This is all Schubert, by the way. Schubert piano music for four hands. And then finally, the Hungarian March, which comes from Liszt's delicious and delightful and marvelous Divertissement on Hungarian motives, which is just a wonderful piece. So they're great. I mean, they're just great. Liszt was an incredibly brilliant arranger of other people's music. I mean, that's what he spent most of his life doing, actually. These marches, he interfered with them quite a bit in terms of form and whatnot, because, the originals, they're all in sort of strict 8-bar phrases with repeats and whatnot, for piano 4 hands. Liszt did a bit to sort of, perk them up. And everything that he did was very sensitive and justifiable in terms of these orchestral arrangements and considerate of the originals. And they are wonderful. Oh, they're so wonderful. And like I said, you'll never hear them in real life. So, and the performances are very good. I mean, they're on period instruments. And, the orchestra sounds a little small and titty, but then Liszt always sounds a little small and titty himself. So we're in good shape. I mean, they come off quite well. The big thing, the big work here is the Wanderer Fantasy, the greatest piano concerto that Schubert never wrote. Liszt basically he took his entire concept for symphonic poems and symphonies from Schubert's Wanderer Fantasy, because in case you don't know it, it has 4 sections that all run together, all based on the rhythm dum bum 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 of the song, The Wanderer. And Schubert transforms this basic motive in each of the separate movements. It begins with an allegro, and then there's a theme and variations based on the theme from the song The Wanderer, and then there's a scherzo. Dun, 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 oh, it's wonderful. And a final concluding fugal peroration, which was supposedly so difficult to play pianistically that Schubert gave up. The famous line where Schubert was playing it, and then he just slammed the piano shut and said, "The devil can play it, the hell with it." It's just an amazing piece of music. 20 some odd minutes long, never gets performed. I actually did see it played once. Like a bazillion years ago at Carnegie Hall. I forget who did it. But maybe it was Cyprian Katsaros or someone like that. But someone did do it. It's a fantastic piece. Even Donald Francis Tovey, who detested Liszt, hated him, said that this was an absolutely beautiful arrangement. It should be in the repertoire. And it should be. It's gorgeous. It works fabulously well as a concerto. And it's performed here by Gottlieb Wallisch on a 1851 forte piano, which sounds like a piano forte, thank God. And it's a delicious performance, absolutely splendid. And gosh, you should know this work. It's great. Then you get the two Liszt Trauer Odes, as I pointed out, which are really, the first one is really big and sort of grandiose in the middle and seraphic and celestial at the end. The second has a harmonic twist. That little ending, that you hear in all the Hungarian rhapsodies, that's in there. But it ends in a lugubrious bit of darkness. And then you end with, of course, the hymn, the Vexilla Regis, which is triumphant and brings the program to an absolutely brilliant close. You really ought to hear this, and you can download it too. It's downloadable. It's all there. Really a great change of pace from the usual stuff. Wow. I'm in love with this. I really am. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.